The Working with Projects module is intended to build core understanding of what projects are, when you'd use a project, and the various components and features of using projects. The first order of business is to overview the Project Management and Accounting module as it relates to Dynamics AX. The first question is, what is a project? Well, here's the definition. A project is a group of activities designed to provide a service, produce a product, or achieve a result. Projects consume resources and generate financial results in the form of revenues and assets. I feel that's a great overview of what projects are, but I usually get the question, well, what do projects mean to me in regards to Dynamics AX? Well, I would say that, like I mentioned, that definition is a pretty good example, but there are actually a couple trains of thinking that I take when I'm thinking about projects in Dynamics AX. Yes, they are a collection of tasks and they can consume resources, and you'll get financial results in the forms of revenue or a potential asset. But I look at them as two generic types. There's external, and then there's internal type projects. And the first thought process is that there are projects that you do for someone to gain a sale, and those I'd identify as the top example. They're external type projects. So we can see Bob the Builder there. He's doing some sort of work on a construction site or whatever it is, and the end result is that his company is going to gain some sort of revenues from the customer associated with the construction project that he's working on. All right, some other examples might be of external type projects could be, well, A, building a house, B, implementing some software for a customer, installing maybe a cell phone tower. I mean, there's tons of examples. All right, then we have those projects where you don't see direct revenue, and maybe you'll never see revenue. So you're doing this work potentially for internal benefit. I'd classify those type of costs only projects as internal. Some examples of that could be in addition to an existing building. So your company's adding on to their current building. Maybe developing software, researching a medical advice, both developing software and researching a medical advance could be developing, the end result of those is developing an asset. Then there's alternate tracks of thinking where you could use internal projects to simply track PTO, or maybe tracking internal goals that your organization has. At its simplest, an internal project is just a way to track the spend that went into something where you won't see any revenue associated with it. Now, the main differentiator between an external and internal project in Dynamics AX is that external projects have a project contract associated with them, while internal projects do not. All right, so an internal or a project contract basically is a way to associate a funding source with a project and all the billing rules, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, which we'll cover downstream. But anyways, for right now, we can think of it as a way to tie a customer to a project. So external has a contract, internal does not. With that being said, Dynamics AX enables project managers, accountants, and team members the ability to effectively plan and execute projects to achieve business results. Let's talk in more detail about some of the dimensions of a project. As we're seeing on the screen, you have your project, and to recap, your project is a collection of activities that go towards achieving a desired business result. So the first important dimension of a project is the scope of work to be performed. There are several modules that are focused on how scope can be estimated and forecasted so that realistic expectations can be set on how that scope can be managed throughout the execution of the project. The second dimension of a project is its resources. We'll be learning how to reserve and schedule human resources as well as consume materials and subcontracted labor which apply to the execution of the project. The third dimension is cost or spend. A project's cost can come in the form of human resources applied to the execution of the project, as well as expenses and material that are consumed. We'll be reviewing how to estimate costs, ensure profitability, and track your project to ensure the costs and associated revenue are in line with expectations. The project features in Dynamics AX are applicable across a range of industries. Oftentimes in various industries, different terminologies will be used to describe project-based work. In advertising and construction, you may hear the term job to describe designing and constructing a site or building. In legal scenarios, a matter may be used to describe a set of related activities. When operating a call center, a ticket may be used to describe a set of actions required to resolve an issue or a call. Consulting companies, such as management or technical consulting organizations or advertising agencies, refer to their activities as projects. In marketing, a campaign represents a set of work to be delivered. In project-based manufacturing, production order relates to the different work that needs to be done to produce finished goods. Whatever the name, these projects all involve resources, schedules, and costs, and the project management and accounting module in Dynamics AX can help the planning, execution, and recording of these projects. Let's review the life cycle and key processes of a project as it relates to Dynamics AX. So if you're looking at the screen, you can see that we have three primary phases: initiation, execution, and then the analysis of the project. So during the initiation phase, we have labor expenses and materials being estimated and communicated out to the customer in the form of project quotations. We have billing terms, limits, and agreements being recorded in a project contract. Work is being planned and estimated using the work breakdown structure, or WBS. Forecasts and budgets are created to guide the project execution. And then finally, we have team members that can be booked and assigned to the planned work. Then we can move to the execution part of the project. And at this point, team members or managers can record their work and expenses incurred using timesheets, expense reports, and many other business documents. Project managers also have tools to revise the work breakdown structure and monitor the consumption of budgeted amounts for the project. Project managers are able to order, pick, and procure materials for their use in projects using purchase orders and other business documents. And invoices are prepared and approved to bill customers for ongoing work. Finally, revenue is recognized during this process to impact the organization's financials. So we get to the final stage would be the analysis stage, and as the project continues to be executed in the organization, Dynamics AX provides tools and documents to help understand profitability, cash flow, resource utilization, and other key metrics of the organization. Through this course, you'll learn how to apply Dynamics AX to various business processes to help organizations plan and execute successful projects.